Hello everyone, I'm Brad with HYTE. Today I want to go through a quick installation guide for our THICC Q60 liquid cooler. So I'll start off by going through some of the included hardware and what you're going to need to install on your specific system. And then we'll go through the installation steps kind of one at a time. And then at the end we'll power it on and take a look at the beautiful 5-inch LCD on our liquid cooler. So here I have a HYTE Y40. This is the case that we're going to be installing the cooler in. Your case might be a little bit different, but for all of the HYTE cases, this installation process should go pretty similarly, whether you have a Y60 or a Y70 or a Y40. Most of those steps are going to be the same. So I'll put this off to the side and get our Q60 box open here. So inside the box, you'll find some instruction manuals. Of course, you will want to go through this. There may be some things specific to your system that don't get covered in this video. The instruction manual will cover a lot of that. We also do have this manual available online on our website at HYTE.com in the Q60 product page in case you lose the manual and you want to look things up. There will be a handful of accessories in a small bag on the side of the box. This will include cable to connect everything to your system, some various bags of screws. The two things you want to pay the most attention to are the mounting kits. So there will be one bag that says it's for AMD and one bag that says it's for Intel. And then of course the last thing is going to be the Q60 itself. So all of this comes as one continuous assembly. You're going to have the radiator with the fans pre-installed, as well as the water block with the LCD on it. On the side, you'll probably want to prepare a few tools to help you get the cooler installed. I have a Phillips head screwdriver, a bunch of zip ties to help with cable management, and a pair of cutters to cut those zip ties. So the first thing you're going to want to do is identify which socket type your motherboard and your system has. That'll determine which of the included mounting kits you're going to want to prepare for the installation. Right here in this system, we have an AMD AM5 socket board. We also support Intel 1700 socket and Intel 1155 1200s, or the 115X as they're known sockets. Optionally, we do have a Intel socket 2011 or 2066 bracket, and also a bracket for Threadripper. You can contact customer service. They should be able to point you to where you can get one of those optional kits, but the ones included in the box are for AMD AM5, Intel 1700, and 115X. So even though this system does have an AM5 motherboard, I will walk through the different mounting kits, each one at a time, to know which parts you need to prepare if you're going to be installing onto one of those motherboards. So the first one is the pre-installed kit. So that is for Intel socket 1700. The front half of the mounting bracket is going to be pre-mounted onto the cooler. Also, if you open up the Intel mounting kit bag, you will find various bags of screws, standoffs, and this rear mounting bracket for the motherboard. You'll notice that it says the name of the socket printed on the little bracket here. For socket 1700, the standoffs, you're going to have them pushed far to the outside of this little X-shaped bracket, and then those will fit into the holes on the motherboard. You'll also notice in the bag are two different sets of standoffs. So one of them is marked with socket 1700, the other one is marked with socket 115X and 1200. It is important to remember to distinguish between these two when you're mounting the cooler. The other thing that you will want to pay attention to is if you are switching to Intel socket 1155, 1156, or 1200, there are different spacers that you're going to need to install onto this back bracket. The 1700 spacers are black, the 115X and 1200 spacers are white. If you are installing onto socket 1200 115X, so that's going to be mostly Intel 11th gen and earlier, you can still use the same top plate. The only thing you'll need to do for this back plate is remove the black plastic spacers and replace them with the white plastic spacers. That'll give you the correct mounting pressure and depth for the older socket. And then you will also be using the 115X or 1200 standoffs when you install onto the motherboard. Now, if you are installing onto an AMD AM5 system, it's going to be a little bit more involved. You're going to have to change out some brackets. I'm going to run through that right now. So for the AM5 mounting, again, you're going to go open the little cloth bag that says AMD AM4 and AM5 in here, about the contents. And in this bag, you will find the top half mounting brackets that attach to the water block, as well as some AMD specific standoffs. So since our cooler is installing onto an AM5 motherboard, we're going to be using this, so I'm going to actually run through that entire procedure now. You'll also find this little bag of spring nuts. That's going to be used regardless of which socket you're mounting to, so you're going to need these regardless. And also you're probably going to need some of these small radiator screws that'll be used to mount the radiator to the case, so keep these handy. So first thing I'm going to do to swap this bracket out to the AMD AM5 mounting kit is, if you look on the side, you'll notice vertically along the water block here, this thing splits in half. So I'm just going to kind of pull on the side of this, maybe wiggle it back and forth a little to take the infall bracket off, set that aside. Do the same thing for the top. Set this aside. Then we're going to take the AMD bracket. You're going to want the words to be facing down, sort of towards the CPU, and then just slide those pieces on. The bottom half of the bracket, these are symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about which one is which. Just make sure they're both facing the same way. Click that in, and then we've got this half prepared. The tubing of the THICC Q60 does have this sort of cloth covering on it. You can leave this on until you install it in the system. It will help kind of keep the tubes managed and keep it kind of all in one place, so you don't have to remove that right now. So to prepare the AMD AM5 socket for mounting, what you're going to need to do is remove the existing mounting bracket. So that's these little black plastic sort of hooks that are already on the motherboard. When you actually do this, I recommend that you lay the system down. So basically take the system, lay it on a table flat. That way you're not going to have to worry about parts sort of falling into the system. I'm going to leave this one upright so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Take this screw out, and then I'm going to take this one out. Remove the little black plastic clip. I do recommend saving these on the off chance that you have to RMA your motherboard for whatever reason. The manufacturer may want these to be reinstalled onto the board. So, you know, save these with whatever else you're saving with the machine, you know, extra screws and cables and stuff. Grab the little bag that says AM4, AM5 mounting standoffs. If you have an AM5 motherboard, there will be a back plate on the back of the motherboard that will stay. It's integrated with the socket. If you have an AM4 motherboard, this thing might fall off, so you'll want to keep a hand on it to keep it from falling off. If you're doing it with the system laying on the table, you might want to keep something under the system to keep it, you know, kind of pressed up into the socket. So I'm going to open this bag. This is going to have the little mounting standoffs that I need for this motherboard. This part's pretty easy. All the little sort of screw spots you see on the corner of where we just removed those other screws, just screw these in by hand. Finger tight is usually going to be fine for these. So we've got our 4 standoffs screwed into the board. That's pretty much all we have to do on the board prep side. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Q60 again. There's one more thing we do have to decide before we install it into the system, and that is the direction of airflow. The cooler does come with 2 THICC FP12 120mm fans pre-installed on the radiator. They are going to be installed in pull, designed to pull air into the case. This cooler, because of the thickness of the radiator, is generally going to be installed as an intake. So you're going to want to have these fans as intake. If you do want to switch them around to exhaust, let's say that you want to mount it to the top of the case. If you have a lot of space up there, you'll probably want to flip these around. It's very easy to do. Just undo the 8 screws on all corners of the fan. And you can remove the fans from the radiator. So one of the nice things you'll notice about the THICC Q60 is that there are no wires connecting the fans to the system. Everything gets integrated through the sort of hub brain in the Q60 itself. We're using our Nexus Link Type M connections here, and you'll notice up in the top of the radiator, we have two connections. One of them is for when the fans are mounted in as intake and pull as we had pre-installed, and then the other is for when the fans are in push or exhaust. They both connect magnetically. You don't have to worry about running any wires. Just go ahead and put those screws back in if you want to flip the fans around. I'm going to keep ours as intake because that's the best way for the case that we have here, and put these screws back in. And the last thing we're going to want to do to prepare the cooler itself before we install it in our case is to plug in our cable. So this is the only cable that powers the entire Q60 unit. There is no wire that you'll have to plug in for the LCD screen. There's no extra wire to plug in for the pump. It's just this one cable. I'm going to do the zip ties here. Here's the Q60's main power and data cable. On one end, it's just going to plug right in to the top of the radiator, super easy. On the other end, you're going to see three different connectors. This is pretty important, so you're going to want to pay attention to where all of these plug in once we install them into our system. The first connector that you're going to see is our data connector. So that is a USB 2.0 header. One thing you definitely want to make sure of is that this is connecting either directly to your motherboard or to a powered hub. If you're using some kind of hub, if you run out of USB 2 headers, this cooler will require the full power of a USB 2 header, so simply using a splitter may cause some issues. The next cable is a PWM speed sensor cable. This one is somewhat optional. We do recommend you still plug it in, especially if your motherboard has a fault that can trip if you don't have something plugged into your CPU fan header. All this is going to do is report the fan speed of the cooler back to the motherboard. The third connector is for power. So this is going to use a PCI Express 6-pin power connector. This cooler can use a lot of power. As is, it's not going to do quite so much, but because this serves as a primary node in our Nexus Link ecosystem, you can chain many devices, including fans and LED strips, onto the Q60, and this is going to be able to provide all the power that that ecosystem needs. The next thing that we're going to have to worry about, of course, is where the cooler installs. In this case, it's going to be pretty easy. There's really only one spot for it, which is here on the side. That's generally going to be the case for all of the HYTE Y series cases. Depending on the case that you have, it may install on the side if you have side mount. If you don't, you can also install the cooler on the front of the case as intake. Those are going to be the two spots that we expect this cooler to fit in most cases on the market. All right, well, that concludes most of the prep work that we need to do to the cooler and the motherboard to get the cooler installed into our system. Most of this should have been pretty straightforward if you have installed a liquid cooler in the past. A lot of the mounting kit and attaching fans to the radiator is going to be common between other coolers. The main part where things really start to differ is when you're actually installing it into the case. That's where a lot of these tips and tricks will come in handy for you. So I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way for right now. Get my case up here. And depending on kind of how your case is arranged, what stuff is going to be in the way, it may differ whether you want to install the radiator into the case first and then install the water block with the LCD, or the other way around. I tend to find that because of the weight of the radiator, it makes more sense to install the radiator first. So what we're going to do is get our radiator kind of positioned to where it's going to end up. Make sure to support both sides of the cooler. I'm going to just kind of let this sit on the table and place the radiator into the Y40 here onto the side mount. One of the nice things, since the radiator is very large and kind of has a flat surface on the bottom, it does kind of stay put pretty easily. So I'm gonna grab my bag of radiator screws. Again, if you're doing this at home, the system should be laid on its side, so gravity is gonna help you a little bit. I'm keeping this up with my hand over here to prevent it from falling. It shouldn't be an issue for you. We have the mounting points for the radiator here on the back of the case. I'm gonna go ahead and put those 8 screws in. I'm gonna lift it up a little bit. Okay, I've got the radiator installed. While we have this perspective, the next thing I'm going to do is pass our cable through to the back half of the system. Right, so there's our 3 cables. You can see from the other side, it just sort of comes out the side of the radiator and then exits into the case over here. Before I plug those in, I'm going to mount the water block so that it doesn't flop around and dent something or get damaged. At this point is when I'm actually going to remove the plastic cover to expose the pre-applied thermal paste that's on the cooler. Obviously you're going to need that for good thermal contact with the CPU. Probably remove this tubing cover now. Gives me a little bit more, right? And then when you are mounting the cooler, you want to make sure that the LCD neck is on the top when it goes to the CPU, so it does not go this way. You also should not be mounting it horizontally, just vertically with the little neck on top. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up the 4 holes in the mounting bracket to the 4 standoffs. Gonna get those lined up on all 4 sides. And this is gonna be where those spring nuts that we talked about earlier are gonna be attached. When you're doing this, I do recommend actually opening this bag first. So you have these ready to go. And now when it comes time to screw these on, one of the things that's going to make your life a lot easier is you're going to go for both of the screws on one side and then both on the other, and you're going to turn the LCD kind of out of the way. So to expose the sort of standoffs on the left side, I've sort of pushed the screen off to the right, and then I'm going to screw on the standoffs just enough so that the threads start to bite. And then, like I said, what I'm going to do is then take the screen and rotate it back the other way to expose the standoffs on the right side. And again, just enough to get the thread to bite. You don't want to screw it all the way down at this point. Okay, I've got all 4 of them in place. Now I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to tighten them in a X pattern. So I'm going to go, in this case, for the top right first. I'm going to bottom that out. Then I'm going to rotate the screen to the side, go bottom left, and then top left. And then rotate the screen back and go bottom right. And what this is going to do is it's going to ensure a more even distribution of thermal paste than if you were to just mount it by basically going in a circle. The X pattern kind of spreads out the thermal paste a little bit better. Right, and then now we have our water block mounted. You can kind of move the LCD back to the middle if you'd like. And the last thing we're going to have to do is plug in those cables that we talked about earlier. For the USB connector, usually that's going to be somewhere along the bottom edge of the motherboard. So in the case of the Y40, that means feeding this cable up through the bottom of the case here, through the power supply shroud. And then you can see it peeking out here on the other side. I'm going to grab that and plug it into my USB 2 header here on the bottom of the board. Again, just a reminder, this product works best when you have the USB 2 header plugged directly into the motherboard. If you do have to use some kind of hub or splitter, please use a powered hub to do that rather than just a passive cable splitter. The next cable we're going to plug in is our PWM signal cable. Most of the time you're going to want to plug this into either the CPU fan header or the CPU optional fan header, since you will not otherwise have a CPU fan than the Q60. So those are usually going to be somewhere around the top edge of the motherboard. On my board, it is right here in the top right. I'm going to feed my cable up through the little cable management hole here on the top edge of the motherboard, and then bring it through to the other side, and then plug it into my CPU fan header. Okay, we've got our PWM signal cable plugged into the CPU fan header. The last cable we need is our 6-pin PCIe power connector. So what we're going to do, go back around to the other side, is we are going to find a extra 6-pin or 6+2 pin PCIe power from our power supply, and then we're gonna go ahead and just plug this in. Now everything's plugged in. I'm gonna do a little bit of tidying up with cable management. One of the nice things about Q60 is literally just 3 wires. Most of them kind of come from the same place, end up in the same place. So it's really easy to do cable management. Like I said, it's just these 3 wires that you have to worry about. So I'm just gonna tie these down really quick. Kind of bundle up power supply cable just to keep things tidy under the power supply shroud. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the installation. Let's go ahead and get things powered on. All right, there we have it. Hopefully you found this guide helpful. If there was something that we missed, or if you need a little bit of extra help on part of the process, feel free to get in touch. Hit us up on one of our communities, Discord, Reddit. Check us out on social media at HYTE brand. And if you really need some extra assistance, feel free to reach out to our customer support. Anyways, until next time, again, I'm Brad with HYTE. Thank you.